Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever Kinky as Fuck Live, shot in front of a live studio audience. How you doing out there? I love it. First off, I'm going to go ahead and thank our sponsors real quick before we get too far into this. First off, foremost, I want to thank Sanctuary Inland Empire for giving us a home here to do this podcast live. Thank you very much, Sanctuary. I also would like to thank FetishForLife.com. Show your love for everything fetish and kinky as fuck with t-shirts, mugs, and much more by fetish artists, the artist who knows what fetish tastes like. And last but not least, GentlemanInCharge.com, LAX's premier and only male dom high protocol night on the fourth Friday of every month at Sanctuary LAX. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode of the Kinky as Fuck Live, and you guys on FetLife told me what you wanted to hear. You wanted an episode where we tell you tips of why you should join your local fetish community and how to stay safe once that you're in. So I have assembled an amazing panel right here. I'm going to introduce them one by one. To my right, we have Goddess V. To her right, we have Oscar. And then this strapping young fella right here is Mr. Sanctuary LAX 2018, Adam. And very last but not least, we have House Ravenblood's own Astrid. So, I might be aging us a little bit, but right here on this panel, I estimated that we have about 70 years of BDSM experience. So, we're going to go ahead and take your questions here in the audience. We're going to take your questions here live on YouTube. But first off, we're going to go down and we're just going to answer a quick couple of questions. First off, you're kinky. Why should you join the community in the first place? Take it away.
Why should you join your kinky community? I think the major thing would be support. It's kind of scary getting out there in the fetish world, and having some support that has a little bit of experience can be pretty safe, I guess. You know, having support, it's always good to have a network.
Networking and verifying who you're playing with as a form of safety versus just playing in the dark with people you don't know.
And for myself, it's to be able to meet new people in a safe, sane, and consensual environment where you can know that you are protected by either the people who work there to make sure that you are safe and that shit's not just gonna go down crazily. Say it that way.
Shit may just go down without it.
I mean, all of those are really important reasons, but I'm going to add on to that learning and experience, because whatever dumb shit you're about to do, someone else has already done it before you, so learn from their mistakes.
I like that last one because please go ahead and applause. I'm sorry. Bad rhetoric. Bad. Right. Maybe I shouldn't smack the hand that's holding the microphone. All right, but anyway, those are all fantastic points. And as a matter of fact, House Ravenblood has an unofficial motto of "Don't do stupid shit." Now, it's served us very well. And how do you know if you're about to do stupid shit if you don't have a community to tell you, "Hey, that's stupid shit." So another thing that I really enjoy is I always tell my humiliating story of how I got into the scene, where I have been dubbed Master Blaster. If you ever hear yourself being called a Master Blaster, it's not a good thing. Because I was the 21-year-old that came in going, "I am a master." Oh shit. So I walked in, and thank God I was immediately humbled because DMs actually stepped in and went, so hi, I haven't seen you before. This was even before I played. It's just, hi, I haven't seen you before. Are you new to the community? I'm like, yes, I'm Master. From this point on, it's Master Blaster. I'm Master Blaster. And the DM went, oh, all right. So just that there was a huge community already looking at me because I was this newbie who had no idea what he was doing, and I didn't even know that I didn't know what I was doing. I then played with a friend of mine, and she had been in the scene for 20 plus years at the time. And at the end, she leaned over to a friend and just went, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing. I could hear that. I wasn't deaf at the time. So I'm just like, shit. So I decided to continue on with becoming a Kinkster and moving away from the master title, at least for now, and learn what it is to actually be a part of the community, learn how to use the tools of the trade. And I thought it was very interesting because at that point in my journey, I was the most knowledgeable person in BDSM in my group of friends. All 9 of them. Do you see my point? So, I love the fact that you can go into your community and you can find the different classes, you can find the different things that you want to learn about. So, tell us a little bit about, your first step into the scene.
Well, so I started in the great world of the internet, and it was just an inkling of an idea, and like at BDSM, and people are like, hey, yeah, we're this, we do that. In my little area, there wasn't a whole lot of coverage. There really wasn't a scene. So a lot of my education came from the internet and meeting people through the internet and researching and finding websites which were sparse at the time that explained what BDSM was. So like for the first 2 years of my existence in the lifestyle, it was pretty much all online. It was very rarely would we meet at somebody's house, or because at the time, two years in, I still didn't know what lunch was. So it was just touch and go and finding people, and some weren't so reliable.
Gotcha. Let me jump back in there real quick. We use the term called munch. Now, what that is, it's a local meetup, normally at a bar or a restaurant or anywhere in public, where Kinksters from almost every walk of life will show up and enjoy themselves, meet each other. Normally, there's not any play at a munch, but it is definitely a way to get yourself known in the community, meet other people, and get yourself vetted. So I would definitely check out your local munches as well. Please continue.
Well, I was out driving a truck, and no, it wasn't like that. I came home one day, my wife goes, we're going to go check something out. And we went over to some people's apartment. And there were 4 or 5 people there that I've never met. And my wife told me as we walked in the door, we're really going to try some adult stuff out.
Surprise!
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise to find out that I was going there. And that I was involved. I was kinky and I didn't know it. So it was a really good experience. But it was a rare experience because so much stuff could have happened wrong.
Definitely so.
So for myself, some people have heard this story and some haven't. I would say not of legal age that I was. But it started out with fisting. I was younger and he was 36-ish. And it wasn't on me, it was on him. I would normally go and scratch out and I get $20 for the week, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing money, and I could get stuff. But he had a TV, and when I was growing up, didn't really have any TV or anything like that, so he would let me watch movies and everything like that, and I didn't know this, back in the day, you had like 30 remotes on your table, and you had to try and figure out what order to turn things on. And I didn't know, so I just pushed every single button on the remotes and trying to turn things on, and all of a sudden, fisting porn popped up on the VHS player, and I'm going, oh my god, that's, like, I'm just perplexed, and I didn't think it was real. I thought it was fake. I could not understand how you could put a hand up there. I'm like,
Practice.
no, I know. But I was like perplexed. I was like, no. How does it fit? That's fake. And he had heard that and came running down the stairs and turned everything off and said, you can go home. So I went home, and about a week later, I came back, knocked on his door, and was like, hey, can I still clean your yard? That way I could get like $20. He's like, we need to talk. I'm like, okay. He's like, did you tell anyone what happened? I'm like, no, that was fake, that wasn't real. And he's like, oh, you're so naive. And
Bless your heart.
but he explained to me, after I told him, like, I really don't tell people a lot of times, it was a very antisocial child. But he explained it to me that, yes, it's real, it wasn't fake, and he's like, this is what it does, and then later on, about a month to 2 months later, it occurred that I asked him more questions about it because I was very inquisitive, and I was like, I still don't get this. I still think it's fake, but I was like, whatever, cool. So he was like, do you want to understand how it works? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I can't really put a hand up there, but because I still did not understand the physics. Like, that is kind of big to put up someone's ass. I mean, this is a bigger one, but still. I've been told that very, very many people. But in that sense, it got to the point where we went upstairs, and my first time seeing a sling, I thought it was a swing, I didn't know how it worked. I was like, this is a swing, oh my god, you have a swing in your house, this is amazing. And I was like, but I was looking at it, and I'm like, but how do you swing? It's like, a swing, you just change. And I'm like, he's like, well, you lay down. I'm like, lay down? I'm like, what? I'm like, but how do you? He's like, well, you lay like this. Like, so he got it in and he showed me, and I was like, I'm like, that doesn't seem very fun. And he's like, well, it can be very fun. And I'm like, okay. So a little bit later, he went into the bathroom, got a dress, had a shirt and jockstrap on, and he had this bucket of J-Lube, and I was like, this is amazing. I want this because it looked like snot. And I was literally 10 minutes just there like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I told him, I was like, I want to take some home. He's like, no. And I'm like, okay. Because he's like, no. And I did not know, like, it doesn't just come off your hands. Like, you gotta, like, scrub it with salt or Dawn, just soap and get it off. So, a little bit fast forward, he sat down in the sling, and I still have a sling with the J-Lube because it was linking. But going forward from that, he had me fist him, and I was like, just baffled. I was like, my hand, ow. Because I didn't get it, but that was my first opening to kink. Now I did the math on this, and you can too if you really want to. I have been fisting people for 15 years, so yeah, that kind of tells you how long it's been. But it's been a wonderful 15 years. I still learning, but it still is a gaping experience. Isn't it? But yeah, that was my first inkling to kink, which was really fun and slippery and snotty, but it was amazing.
The first time I encountered kink, I had a friend in junior college, and she was in the scene, and she said, "I think this might be for you." So she took me to what was then Passive Arts, now Sanctuary LAX, and I went there, and I saw a really intense knife scene. I saw a lot of things, but I was like 19. I saw this really intense knife scene, and I thought, that is horrifying, and I like it. And then I thought, that makes me a bad feminist. And I ran away and didn't come back for like 5 years. And I didn't come back until I saw, like, because I kind of kept aware of what was going on. And I didn't come back until I saw a class about, like, you know, feminist submissives. It was by Emily Pryor. She does some teaching, the Center for Positive Sexuality. And I attended her class, and I said, okay, but how do you deal with the fact that you're a feminist and also you like getting hit with stuff? And she was like, but I don't understand the question. So it was kind of like being exposed to that, and another person who had not necessarily gone through my same struggle, but who understood my concerns, kind of helped me move through it. And without being a part of the community and being like finding a way to address those things with other people, I wouldn't have been able to, you know, do what I'm doing.
Well, very good. I love hearing everyone's story about, you know, their origin point. And however, there is also, you know, some, I don't want to say dangers, but we went over the pros of joining your community, which is definitely knowledge, gaining the community, finding other people, finding out that you're not alone. I gotta tell you, when I found out there was a website called FetLife, I'm like, there's so many of me! Because in high school, I was just that weird guy. So finding out there was a community made me sit there and go, okay, I'm not that, well, I'm weird, but I'm not that weird. So, however, though, for every pros list, there is a cons list. So what do you think a con of joining the scene would be? I know it's a strange question, but it'll make you think, which is kind of what I want to do. Because I'm a sadist. I think I've stumped them. Oh, no.
I don't have an answer for that, because I personally have only grown by being involved in the community.
I love that answer.
For the longest time, it was keeping a secret from my parents. Earlier this year, I went out and told them that I was in the website.
Yay!
All right.
That's exciting.
And how did that go?
My dad was a little stunned. It's a funny story. I just got done working at AdultCon, and I posted it on Facebook. I'm home from AdultCon, and left it at that. And my dad called me up about a week later. He goes, "What's this AdultCon thing?" And I told him it's a porn star convention. And after I heard his jaw hit the ground on the phone, he's like, "What do you mean a porn star convention?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, I kind of work around with the fringes of the adult porn community," and so I had to explain to him what was going on then. And he's like, "You know what? I don't have any questions for you yet. When I do, I'll keep them to myself." And he left it at that.
I have an answer now.
All right, we have an answer.
Yeah, so the con would be going to Thanksgiving with your family, with your husband's family, and while visiting family, going to the local gay bar and attending an event, and then having your husband come home and out you to his parents.
Parents, sister-in-law.
It was a sister-in-law.
Yeah. They talk.
Alright, on to you,
I guess for myself, I haven't really seen many cons. I'm a very open person. You can ask me a question and I'll give you an honest answer. I really don't have that much of a filter either, as some people know. That fisting story, for example. But for me, I've had people question, like my parents question, and just go, why? And I'm just like, well, why not? I'm trying to understand why you think it's horrible, but it's fine in my book. But that I would say would be like the biggest challenge. And I know it's not a very good movie. I was upset there was just no penis shots in it. From 50 Shades, all three of them. I know it's a really bad movie. I was just more upset I didn't get to see anyone's dick. I'm like, really? I paid for it? I didn't really pay for it, but I was like, really?
I paid for it.
I think
It was research.
I think we all paid for it in the long run because we were like, oh my god, we have so much to fix. This is all wrong. I was just pissed. I didn't get to see his dick, and they were like, oh, it was edited out in the final cut. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I waited 3 movies not to see a penis? Fuck this franchise. But still. I try to explain it to family members and say like, well, it's kind of like that. And they're like, oh, so you beat people? And I'm like, geez, your brain goes just straight to that. Well, yeah, and other things too. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's not just that, like, I'm gonna hit you till you gag and then just leave you there because I'm a dumb. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. But I can say that would be the most difficult part of it, just like the family aspect and them fully understanding. And then, I mean, my family's very open, so they're not like closed off hardcore Christians, and they're like, you're going to burn in hell, and I'm like, I'll save you a seat next to me. But I guess that's the best answer I could give to that. But other than that, yeah, that's what I can say. It's just the family aspect of it. Just having them, explaining it to where they can understand and they're not like totally freaked out, but like not explaining all of it because I know I would terrify them. And then just, yeah.
Right, some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah, and then some things that work really well with photos. Just be like, hey, look, that's what happens. They're like, and it's, I know people say like a picture's worth 1,000 words, but the expression is just priceless. that's where it comes from. But yes, that is my answer to that question.
All right. Great one at that. All right, Jackie.
I think it's okay. I think it's really interesting that the question of the cons question sort of became a question about coming out. Like, it kind of seems like the biggest con is the stigma around being in the scene, which isn't really a con. I mean, I guess it ends up being a con of the community, but it's not really a natural con of being in the community. It's just other people's external bullshit.
I agree with that completely.
My mind, this is not where my mind went because I don't have family, and I'm lucky enough to be out. So because I don't have family, I'm out at work, I work in HIV prevention, so everyone's like, oh, like we need a kinky person, Jackie, ask Jackie. And I'm just out with all the friends, so I don't have to face that kind of stigma. So for me, the big con becoming part of the community was, especially when you're new, people want to tell you all about yourself, especially if you are like a female submissive. They want to tell you about like what a true submissive is, what you have to do to be a true submissive, the one true way to be a dominant. And I think there's a balance because there is the benefit of other people's experience and learning from their stupid shit, but there's also the balance of you have to figure out your own way and not necessarily buy into every single thing everyone in the community wants to tell you.
I agree with that last part completely. As I've said on the podcast, almost every single episode, kink is supposed to be fun. If you boil it all down, it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy yourself. And if you're not enjoying yourself, you're doing it wrong. Am I right? Because either you're in pain and something needs to, switch it up, or maybe you're not into, say, fisting.
Everybody should be into fisting.
Right!
That's just my honest,
50% of people are into fisting.
that's my honest opinion. It's like my first question asked, like, "Are you into fisting? Can I put my hand up your hole and play with you from the inside?" And they're like, "Yes." I'm like, "God, we're gonna be good friends." They're like, "No." I'm like, "We'll just be friends." But it's okay.
My director is going, "What's happening? Why is this happening?" This is what we wanted for the Kinky as Fuck Live. Strap in, here we go.
Strap on?
Or strap on.
Strap in, strap on, fisting, let's do it all. But I asked that question, and I knew it would kind of make everyone think, because I wanted it to go in organic direction. And I love that it went to almost like a coming out story. And for me, though, a lot of people, if you are found out that you're in the community, if something happens and you are outed, a lot of professions still really look down on people who are in the kink community. Teachers, politicians, help me out here. Like, who wouldn't actually still be kind of stigmatized in the workplace? Except for maybe a comedian.
I feel like the answer to that is like Donald Trump, because he's still an asshole and people still like him. So pussy grabbing is like a thing, but
It is.
Okay, we're going in a different
Yeah,
direction.
let's go in a different direction.
If you work in sexual health, you're allowed to be out as kinky.
All right, I like that. And if you're a comedian, no one really cares because they're like, "Tell us about your adventures." It's great. I love being a comedian.
I'm a security officer. Imagine that being kinky.
Well, there was a couple. Speaking of a security officer, I think last year wasn't a New York policewoman who used to be a dominatrix was found out that she used to be a dominatrix, and they were going to throw her off the force. Like, that's kind of how it is. Like, she wasn't really in the community anymore. She just did a few videos back in the day, and those videos came to light as soon as she was about to graduate and become a New York police officer. And the tabloids threw a fit, and lawyers threw a fit, going, "Oh, okay. Yeah, if my client is arrested by this dominatrix, we're going to say all sorts of fun stuff to get him out of jail." So it does kind of still have a giant stigma if you are outed to either your family or your work or anything like that. So unfortunately, that is a con. Again, not a con of the community, but a con of being found out. And that's why a lot of people are still very quiet about it. That's why some people go, "I'm not going to join the community because if I do, people will know I'm kinky." But we have a lot of different codes of conduct where you don't out anybody. And one
Especially over dinner.
I'm sorry, say that into the microphone one more time.
Especially over dinner.
Okay, so the story I know is we're out at a gay bar, married couple, and my sister asked where we were, and I was like, "Well, we were over at this bar." And she goes, "But that's a gay bar. What were you guys doing there?" And I'm like, "Oh, there was a leather event going on." And as far as the friends went at the time, I was out to everybody. The only people I weren't really out to were my family. And that's how it ended up coming out. She's like, "What's a leather event?" So I started to explain to her what was going on. And it just went from there that we just continued the conversation. But I was raised by my sisters, so it was...
So you came out and you got pulled along for the ride.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, I've been out to my family and pretty much everybody that I've known since I went into the lifestyle. So I've never made any bones about the fact. So everything I learned, they kind of learned along with me. I even raised 3 children in the lifestyle. questions and answers.
All right, well, I'm having a lot of fun with this conversation. I know our studio audience is. Studio audience, are you having a fun time so far? All right, it is 7:30, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the second portion of today's topic.
Demonstration of fisting.
And for that, you're going to have to go off YouTube and go to Pornhub to our sister site and moving on.
Available at Justice for Fans /Mr. Archangel Triple X. You're welcome.
Well, that was shameless plug number one. Okay.
You'll see a lot more than my hand.
As long as you make those faces, I will pay for your content. Wow. Just.
The hand will be hidden, so you really won't see the hand.
So wonderful eating fatty today.
Okay, before this goes all off the rails. All right, moving on to part 2 of. All right, let's back it up. Yeah. Moving on to part.
Can you say that again?
Son of a bitch.
You backed into that one now, didn't you, Jeffrey?
I back into a lot of things. Thank you very much.
It's good to know.
You know my number. Anyway, moving on to part 2 of the show. Moving on to part 2 of the show. When you're brand new, how do you keep yourself safe in the community? And this isn't always, something for just newbies. It's not like you get 1 year in and, everything's fine now. I can do whatever I want. You still need to keep yourself safe. So let's start with, first off, keeping yourself safe on the internet first, and then we'll move on to being in the community and everything else. So, what's the number one topic or number one tip you would have for keeping yourself safe, just like on FetLife or Whippler or any of those sites?
If they say they're from Nigeria and they're a prince, don't believe it. Don't just word prince.
Can I have you on the show every month? Alright, let me actually start with me. That is me.
Well, don't give people information until you've vetted them. And by vetting is where you basically check credentials. I mean, most people know somebody in the scene, or they get to a point where they can look people up. I mean, think of it as a job interview. You don't want somebody working for you that you kind of don't know what their background is. So you want to kind of get an idea of people before you start just giving them information about your life, about where you live, about the things you do, unless you always want anonymity. In case, just don't ever tell anybody anything.
Very good point.
Don't tell people you're from Washington when you're from California.
Or Antarctica. Places.
Yeah. Because people see you and then they automatically know, I saw you out on the street and now you're
You're going to be looked at as being, a liar on everything. I wasn't trust you on that. Do a lot of research. Research everything and proof your photos.
Real quick, by proof your photos, do you mean put the watermark, that kind of thing?
If you don't want to be out there in the community yet, blur your face.
Gotcha. So crop out your face, crop out any distinguishing tattoos or anything like that.
Yeah,
Just be like Grindr, where it's the headless person. And it's like, oh, hi, just random person.
I'm going to add to that, backgrounds. Watch your reflections in mirrors and those bathroom pictures.
Yeah, put the
There's
toilet seat
distinguishing
down.
information sometimes, I mean, if you take a picture near your car, don't show your license plate. These are all things that will keep you safe. I mean, we send our kids off to college and we tell them, be careful, don't do this, don't do that. Think of those things for yourself.
These are great examples.
One fascinating trick that some people don't know is that you send somebody a photo. Well, you can actually reverse search that photo. So I would say don't use the same photo for like everything. Like, this is my FetLife photo, and this is my Facebook photo, and this is my Instagram, and this is my Twitter. Because people can find it that way, and they're like, oh, this, Jane Doe sent me a photo, and I'm like, oh, let me just look that up. Oh, Janet Harding, on Facebook. Okay. And she's a hardcore Christian. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't be looking up a girl anyway, but I'm just saying. As an example, I've done this with men, but you do have to be careful. I would always recommend just to be safe in the community. Like whatever fetish photo you want, I understand that it might be amazingly hot. You're like, I could use this as my headshot because I'm hot. And I'm like, that's great, but be careful because that photo can be very easily found back to you if you decide to put it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, because of the fact that people are smart. I mean, they're getting smarter. I know, for the next generation of people like myself, we know how to find shit out. It's not that hard, but that's kind of like the biggest thing. And if you're like super afraid of people finding you, get like an app for a second phone number or something like that. That's a really good option too if you don't want to give somebody your personal number because you don't want someone to like look it up and then see like where you live, who's everything about your family and all that stuff. Just get like a free app and just get a second number and be like, text me there. No, that's my number. And if you want to call me, do that. Oh, Google Voice or something. Oh, we're not sponsored by that. Sorry. Google, we're accepting applications for sponsorship for, Kinky AF content, I'm just saying.
And also, don't sue us for saying it if you want to go that route.
This is free promotion. And it's on YouTube. It's owned by Alphabet, I'm just saying.
Public domain.
Yes. But that is like my biggest things, I would say. Have like your sexy photos. And then one last word of advice I can give, as hot as you might think they are, do not take a full frontal with your face in it, because that's really dumb. Like, you can take the photo all you want. I'm not saying, like, don't take the photo. But if you decide to send that photo to somebody, now that person has your, like, full frontal, like, oh my god, look at this person's beautiful fake abs and big old chin. And then it's like, yes, that's pretty to look at, but, like, don't do that, because then people can post it on sites and they're like, oh my god, look at this hot guy who just sent me this picture, and all of a sudden someone like finds that image and they're like, oh my god, I didn't know I was on, what the fuck, and then it just creates
Daddy, why are you on this page?
Hey, you get it from then. What happened to mommy?
that's like my, yeah, I'll stop.
This is still my show. This is great. I'm having fun.
I would definitely second the bit about Google Voice. It keeps a little safer. I think that it's tricky because FetLife is sort of where the digital community and the in-person community collide. And so, especially when you're new, it's easy to not really know how to protect yourself. Like I wasn't new, but I fucked up, and I'll give you an example. I was talking to this guy on FetLife a couple years into the scene, and it just got kind of weird. He just got kind of weird, and I was like, I'm gonna go, and I just stopped responding. So I continued, to go to events and RSVP to events on FetLife. Funny thing about that, people can view your profile and see what events you've RSVP'd to publicly. So this guy shows up to this event that he knows I'm gonna be at, and he's like, hey, we've been talking, and I'm really excited to meet you. And I was just like, what the fuck? So that's a thing that can happen. And then also, if you decide to meet up with someone, tell a friend where you're going. If you're getting in someone else's car, I just always send like a little photograph to a friend, text it over. That way, your friend knows a way to like who you were with last.
Well, on that actually, we're going to switch over to part 2, which is keeping yourself safe in public in the scene. She brought up a really great point of, have that safe call. But my number one thing is, if you're just meeting somebody, meet in public.
Yeah.
Go to a munch, go to a play party, go to Sanctuary Inland Empire. Shameless plug number 2. And meet them where you can still stay safe. All right. How else would you say, keep yourself safe in the scene? Let's start the second round here.
Utilize the resources that the communities and venues put out. Most reputable venues have a listing of classes or even a listing of their employees, and many of them have a history and a lifestyle, and you can pick their brains. Most people that work venues like that or frequent venues like that have a wealth of knowledge that they are absolutely willing to share of their experiences and of the knowledge that they've gleaned and the mistakes that they've made. Learn from somebody else's mistakes rather than making your own. It's a good plan.
If you're new in the scene, DMs and the owners of the clubs don't really mind, and they actually look forward to new people coming up and going, look, I'm new, never experienced this, can you keep a little bit of an eye out on me? Let me know if something's going on. Help me vet some of the people.
Another thing I was going to say too is, the DMs that are there, a lot of them have been there for a long time. And then you can always ask and just be like, hey, and by DM, dungeon monitor, the person's there to, prevent shit from going down. They try their best. Things happen, that's life. But they learn from those experiences more than anybody else. And they can say like, hey, I've never seen you here before, and I noticed you're new. And I noticed you were talking to so-and-so, I just want to let you know that you might want to spend more than 2 minutes negotiating something because things can, turn for the worst or kind of go a little bit different awry. But they're really good resources. People in the community who you trust, leaders in the community, title holders in the community. I myself am a current title holder, so I pride myself on educating people, asking questions, and trying to help them as much as possible. And if people literally don't know and they're brand new, I've had people who are like, this is my first time here. And I'm like, welcome! I'm so happy you're so pretty. But you're like, welcome. And I'm just like, ooh, your abs. Fine. But I will still talk to them because, they are brand new. They don't know about it. They don't know anybody in the community. They don't know anybody in your area at all. And I've had people who have either moved from Alaska and they come here and they're like, I have no idea who anybody is at all. And I'm like, who should I stay with? Who should I not? What's the best option? And then, you try and explain it to them. Like, well, if you want to learn about this, I would recommend this person. You can go with whoever you want, but my recommendation is this person. If you want to learn about this, talk to this person. If you want to learn about fisting, talk to me. I will talk to you for like 5 hours. But yeah, that's kind of it. Just use the resources in your community around you. That's what I would say.
To kind of expand on that, I would say there's like a phenomenon called the missing stare, which is that if you're not part of the community, you don't have this information, but every community has predators, and when you're in the community, other people will tell you, don't play with that person, or these are the things you might want to consider before you play with that person. And if you're just off on your own, you're not going to get that. And similarly, I would say vetting, negotiation, to really do your negotiation. A way I keep myself safe, because I do a lot of pickup play with people I don't know, or people I meet at the dungeon, is I let them lead the negotiation, and if they don't know how to do a proper negotiation, I'm already not so sure I want to continue and play with them, and I have to go into like steps 2 and 3 of vetting them. But if you know how to put together a negotiation, that's a good sign.
Another great thing, that we've talked about is make sure to be in public when you're first meeting someone, because I hear a lot of horror stories. I met this guy on Craigslist, and then I went and met up with him at his hotel room.
Craigslist is gone. We don't have that anymore.
Well, that's why I'm using Craigslist. Thanks for dating me, bitch. God.
You're welcome.
Where was I? So,
It's gone.
No, it's not gone.
The personal section for dick sucking is gone.
okay, we're going to continue on before we speak. All right. So, make sure to keep yourself safe by doing exactly what you would do if you're going out on a date. Have your safe call. What a safe call is you have a friend that maybe an hour into this date gives you a call, and if you sit there and say, oh, I could really use a banana or whatever, then they know, okay, I'm coming to get you, and I have the cops on speed dial. But for an event, once you're leaving an event, text your friend to say, hey, I'm safe, I'm leaving, I'll let you know when I get home. Contact the DMs, contact the event organizer, have people kind of show you around. Or, I know this might be a little bit hard at first, but come with a friend. I went to my very first play party completely alone. Mistake. The very second time, I came with a friend that was sort of open to kink, and then after he came to the dungeon with me, he's like, dude, I'm so into this. Where's this been my whole life? All right, so we are about running low on time. We got about 10 minutes, so I'm going to open it up for any questions that we have from either the studio audience or the YouTube audience. So, do we have any questions from our studio?
Not even about fisting?
So,
Multiple.
All right.
so you guys mentioned that there are ways to actually step into your local community. Like for someone who's totally brand new, what are some of the places they can go to step into that community? I know munches were mentioned, but are there other places that they can go to as well, or places where they can find out how to take that first step into the public community?
I would definitely say fetlife.com is still one of the best ways to learn about your local community. Any others that you could recommend or think of?
FetLife's good. I am out on Facebook, but you can always make a second Facebook. And there are actually Facebook groups that are, the Los Angeles fetish community groups. And you can say hey, I'm looking for an event to go to, and does anyone have any recommendations that they can tell me? And people who are like, hey, there's this, 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 and this, what are you looking to do? That's another one. Local clubs, activities, even bars as well. I know bars aren't the best place to meet, a lot of people. Some people love it, some people don't. I don't drink, so I go to bars and support the events that are put on. That's myself. But, that you have many a local bar around, not necessarily the Inland Empire, that are really super good gay bars. But for myself, in LA, there's a ton of them. They're everywhere. But it's super nice to go to an event that, if they're putting on a sampler event, that's a fantastic way to learn, meeting people. If they're putting on a demo night of, learn about BDSM and understand what it is about this, that's another one too. And then, if you want to go to a dungeon like Sanctuary LAX or Sanctuary IE, that's another one too. Or if you want to go to Threshold, or if you want to go, many places, they have those, you have that option to do that. And go on demo nights or it's an experience, and learn, and then ask questions. And then those people are going to be a better resource for you to go, hey, by the way, there's also this that you could go to that you might be interested in because you love whips or you love fire play. That's another good one too. I've seen awesome videos where people get set on fire and push into a pool in 3 seconds. I'm like, that looks fun. But that's myself. But yeah, that's a really good option for me. That's what I would say.
Here at this club and the sister club in LA, they have an awakening once a month, and that's designed all around nudies. So that's a good place to go.
Definitely. Club Awakening, for those of you who don't know, actually is hosted out of LAX and IE. So Sanctuary LAX and Sanctuary Inland Empire both have Club Awakening, where they have taster booths. They have everything geared for, this is your first time in a dungeon. Come check it out.
Just not fisting.
Just not fisting. That's not allowed.
Yet.
Anyway, I think I need to have you on the show as often as possible.
It's gonna get really in depth if you do.
Promise.
With both hands.
I've met many a newbie that don't have a clue what they're into. So my suggestion to them is know what they are into. If they like hiking, look up Kinky Hiking. If they like libraries, Kinky Libraries. Look up the things that you're interested in, and then get to know the people that are kinky that like to do the things that you like to do. And by getting to know those people outside of community get-togethers or venues that teach, you'll learn more things, feel more comfortable, and you'll know what you want to ask and what you want to find out about, what might interest you.
And I would also say, like, your local sex shops, and I know we've taught, like, you know, the Pleasure Chest, Stock Room, they have a lot of classes because they sell the materials so they know where the community is. And we've talked a lot about FetLife, but it's actually not as big and necessarily in every city and state. So when I travel and I'm looking for the kink community, a lot of times I'll just like Google like dungeon, Atlanta, and kind of start digging.
Well, those are all great points as well. So, I know we had a few other hands, and we are still good on time. So, there was a hand in the back.
I just wanted to hear any absolute horror stories that you've either
Horror
dealt
stories.
with, or I'm just something like curious. Like I heard someone did this. This is what you should do instead, because like you guys said, there are so many easy errors to make. Whether it's getting in a car with someone who says they're a master, or something like that.
All right. Well, just in case YouTube did not pick that up, the question is, what are some horror stories of people that have joined the community and have made a mistake and maybe got into a car with a stranger? I'll go ahead and start it off.
Right, Master Blaster.
Well, I think the number one mistake that happens with newbies is, especially online, the biggest red flag you will ever get is when you are talking to a dom or a master online and they say, "You're mine, you need to deactivate your profile, you cannot contact anyone in the community, you're isolated, you are mine." That is a big red flag.
Not even just for the kink community, but it's abuse.
Yeah, that's, I mean, when we say it that way, it seems like common sense.
That's when you just go, "Bye, Felicia," and just like delete their info and be like, block.
But for people that don't know the community, we are a subculture. You know, it might be one of those things of, oh, well, this is how it happens. No, it's not. Especially if you've never met, you have no reason to deactivate your account or be ostracized from the community before you even step foot inside of it. And I think that, you know, everyone's different. I'm not going to try to be one true wayist or anything, but it is my personal belief that if anyone tries to limit your access to knowledge or experience, that's a huge red flag, and it's actually, as Jackie said, abuse. Who wants to follow that?
Well, I will.
I knew you had horror stories.
Yes. I myself have, yes, had bad experiences with people, where I get people who are like, yes, I am so into being tied up and restrained and spanked, and you know what? I myself, I'm like, okay, fine, what do you want out of this? Let me know now, because if you want me to do this to you every single day, you gonna pay me. That's a lot of fucking work. But for myself, I don't have an issue with that per se, but when you have someone who goes, yes, I've been doing this for 15 years, and then they fail to tell you I've had a 5-year lull in any play at all, that's where it creates like the, woo, you did not tell me this at all, and you should have. I have had a scene where it was, that 15 years and 5-year lull, and now this is the 20th year, and look at that, I did math. But it was the fact that he was tied up, gagged, and bound, and he was getting spanked, and he coded, and he's like, ropes off right now. I cut all the ropes off. I had absolutely no problem damaging my toys. Because if you are, I will say this right now, if you are not willing to cut your rope, do not tie anybody up, because that's complete and utter bullshit.
True.
You need to be prepared for the worst case scenario. And I had to explain to them, he's like, I just wasn't expecting all of that, and I understand this is exactly what I asked you for, but I haven't done this in 5 years. And I'm like, what? You just told me you did this for 15 years. And he goes, well, yeah, I had a 5-year lull. That's why I wanted to start out, again. And I thought I could start at the same level, and I didn't know I couldn't. So that was a big thing. And that's where it's kind of like, be careful, because you need to get like the full in-depth detail and not just what they want to tell you. So that's like another big thing too.
Is that our 3-minute warning? All right, I think we have, do we have any questions on YouTube? No, we still don't have any. All right. We had a question over here on, yes.
So for somebody that's new, I know you mentioned a lot of places to go to meet people, to get kind of out there. Is there any way you would recommend, like as far as safety goes, vetting yourself, or I guess throwing yourself out there if you're not that outgoing, if you're really shy? A lot of people are introverted, a lot of people don't like going to events. I know that's a hard question, but...
Well, just so that we, make sure we get it on the mic, the question is, if you're shy and, getting out there, it is a very case-by-case basis, because if you are introverted, then you have to go with your own comfort level. And, when I joined the scene, this was mistake number 912, I sat there and said, all right, I'm up for anything. YOLO.
Back when YOLO was a thing.
People on the panel are aging. YOLO is still a thing. YOLO forever.
Just speaking the truth.
Anyway, back to the conversation at hand, though. So I actually kind of pushed myself too hard at first, and I kind of did just trust too many people who said they knew what they were doing. I have permanent scars on my back from people who knew what they were doing and were trained by the best. Mm-hmm. And little bunny foo-foo here is going to get really tired if I keep doing it, because there's a lot of things that I did wrong. And a lot of people go, oh, well, you were new. It's like, I didn't have to be that new, though. So I believe, Jackie, you were about to comment, though?
Yeah, we kind of shared a look because Gear and I are both incredibly socially anxious, and I have crippling social anxiety, and I take meds for it, and so yeah, if you have access to Xanax, that's a way to get ready to go out and meet some people. But also, the way I do it is I volunteer, and it led to like a weird life of service and serving the community, which I totally love, but I felt weird just kind of walking around, like going up to people and like, hey Adam, how are you? And he's like, I'm into fisting, so I helped. I was like, oh, here, let me help pick up the trash and help tear down this event and put it up, and that's how I met people, and it was a lot less awkward.
We've dubbed that service voyeurism.
Meh.
Because I've been there. I spent 5 years on the outfringes of the lifestyle, going to clubs and everything, and just watching
until I figured out what it was I was into, and then I got right back into it all.
And you had friends by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says 5 years. It was more like 10 years.
Another thing that I would also add to that is, yes, it is a very good way to volunteer at events, and I 100% recommend it. Asking like the event promoter, and you're like, hey, do you have any volunteer spots available that I can assist with? You know, like cleaning up trash, or like just, you know, ushering people in and be like, it's this way, come with me. And you know, like that's a really good option. In certain communities, people don't have volunteers, so you get voluntold to do things, which is a word, yes, it's trademark. But that is a really good option to do when they're like, hey, I need somebody to literally just stand here and be like, this is a whip. And that's all you do all night. It's like, this is a whip, not a flub. This is a whip, not a flubber. It's not the same thing. But yes, I would literally recommend volunteering, asking. Be like, hey, what can I do to help you out? What is the option that I have available for you? And that way I can get back more, because then you can talk to other people too and be like, oh, I can learn more from this because now I'm meeting like 7 people who I would not normally said like, oh, sorry, I promise. But that's one thing I would say. Just asking if you can help out, and then that is the best way to do that. That way you can meet new people without necessarily like, oh, I'm forced to, kind of like forced you. I know I'm almost done. Sorry, but yes, that is my best option and advice to you.
All right. Well, it is 8:02. We're running.
Sorry, the microphone is very phallic, so I enjoy it next to my face.
That's a wrap.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone here in our studio audience for joining us for the first ever Kinky as Fuck Live. Did you enjoy yourself? I want to thank every single person that's on this panel. Thank you so much, Goddess V. Thank you so much, Oscar. You guys can clap.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adam. And thank you so much, Jackie. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kinky as Fuck Live. I am your host, as always, the Reverend. Good night. It's the red button.
There's no red button.
You guys sounded really good.
Are we still live?
We are, we're so
Where's the red button?
So live.
I don't see a red button. That's not a red button.
This is very professional.
I know, right?
Right now.
I swear.
Sanctuary _Inland Empire, or actually, I'm sorry.